This is Wayla Chambo for WHRO-FM. Bass-baritone Ryan Speedo Green grew up in Virginia and attended the Governor's School for the Arts right here in Norfolk. His incredible journey has taken him from a troubled childhood to the stages of great opera houses around the world. And this weekend, he's coming back to perform for the Virginia Arts Festival. I had the pleasure of catching up with him recently from his home in Vienna. How does it feel to be coming back and performing here in Norfolk in Hampton Roads?
It's pretty surreal. I am a Virginia native. I wasn't born in Virginia, but I grew up most of my life in Virginia. And the biggest changes in my life, the people who I met who affected my life the most outside of my mother, were my teachers and educators that I met in Virginia. As you know, if you know my story,
Mm-hmm.
From my special ed teacher in fourth and fifth grade to Robert Brown and Mr. Hughes, who was the principal of Government School for the Arts, and Robert Brown, who was my core teacher, and Alan Fisher, who was the head of the voice program at Government School for the Arts. Those three individuals were extremely important in my discovery of, first of all, of the love for opera, the love I have for opera, as well as discovering my voice and where I fit in the operatic world.
Yeah, do you have a memory of any sort of particular moment where you felt like this is the thing that I really want to do?
Well, I mean, I have a moment I talk about with anyone who asks me, like, why opera? What made you love opera? As an African American kid from, a trailer park in Windsor, Virginia, I really didn't think opera was something that I could be a part of, or even classical music was something I could be a part of. And, I had a preconception at a young age that opera was something only white people could do, that it was an elitist art form, which it definitely is an art form that takes a lot of education, which is very, very true. It's not a field in which you can fake your way till you make it. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work that way. And but as a young adult, young teenager, I didn't think that it was something even I could pursue. It wasn't something that people of color could do, or even were accepted in. And when I got into Government School for the Arts, I still felt that way. And in my second year of Government School for the Arts in Norfolk, Virginia, we took a trip to see an opera at the Metropolitan Opera in New York City. And when I got to the Metropolitan Opera and the huge fountain in the center, and then walking into the Met, you see this sort of Coliseum-like structure, and you walk in, and everything is like, Tiffany's glass, red velvet carpets. It really feels like you're in a castle, if not like the Disney World of opera. And for me, that wasn't the thing that really changed my perception of opera. What made opera tangible, what made opera real for me, was the fact that the first opera that I ever saw on stage, which was Carmen, which is a great opera, by the way, for all beginners out there, what made it tangible for me, made it real for me, was the fact that the title role, the main character, Carmen, was portrayed by an African American woman by the name of Denise Graves, a mezzo soprano from actually out near DC. And I got to meet her afterwards. And I
Mm-hmm.
think after I left there, having been lifted out of my body, and then to have the person who lifted me out of my body talk to me and treat me like a real person, and that she actually cared to be there, it made opera ever more real and important to me in my life. And I told my course teacher, Robert Brown, that night, I want to sing at the Metropolitan Opera. Not I want to sing opera, I
Mm.
want to sing at the Metropolitan Opera. And he looked at me, and instead of telling me no, or this is impossible, or, maybe you should aim a little lower, he instead gave me a ridiculously long list, a list that is actually probably the longest list I've ever gotten in my life to this day, of all the things I needed to accomplish just to even sing an audition for the Met.
Mm-hmm.
And but what he didn't do, which many people have done to people like me and people who look like me our whole lives, is tell us what we can't do. He gave me a way to get there, and I did. 9 years later, after completing everything that he gave me on that list, I sang at the Met.
Yeah. What a great teacher, it sounds like.
An amazing human being. He actually never got to see me sing at the Met. He passed away a year and a half before I sang at the Met.
Mm.
But he was there to see me graduate high school. He literally sent me to my first college. He was there to see me my first opera in college. He was there to see me graduate my undergrad. He saw me go to grad school, and even months before his last breath, he still believed that I was going to achieve my dream.
what kind of work needs to be done in the classical music world in order to make it more accessible to more people so that more kids can have that moment of saying, hey, this is something I can see myself doing?
Diversity and inclusion. Opera would not be what it is for me today if I didn't see someone who looked like me on stage. And the beauty, what really is America, is someone like me. The fact that someone that comes from where I came from, that looks the way I look, can be a part of an art form that in Europe didn't include people of color. America is amazing and important because of its diversity and its inclusion. And the moment that everybody realizes that and puts their money where their mouth is when it comes to diversity and inclusion is the moment that we really truly realize the American dream. Music will always be there. No matter how rich or poor you are, no matter how black or white you are, you will always have music. And we, as Americans, could be doing so much more for the music world, especially the classical music world, if we made the arts accessible, especially, as I mentioned before, classical music is one of the few art forms in the world that you can't fake it till you make it through. It needs education, it needs support monetarily. For instance, Government School for the Arts is supported. My tuition at Government School for the Arts when I went there was paid for by the city, by the state. And because of that, I was able to get free education that otherwise would have cost me tens of thousands of dollars a year. And if you can understand, I'm singing at the biggest opera houses and classical music venues in the world as a 35-year-old. And that's only because of the high school education that spurred that love for the arts. And we need to have platforms and access in these sort of inner city, poor neighborhoods that we don't have. And I think, there are many more Ryan Speedo Greens and Frederick Valentines, Will Livermans, Danielle Walkers. There are so many more of those out there that came from Government School for the Arts that literally, if they had the ability to actually be a part of something like that, they would, and they would excel at it.
Looking at your program for your upcoming concert here with Virginia Arts Festival, looks like a really fun kind of opera's greatest hits sort of program. Is there anything on there that's a special favorite of yours that you're looking forward to singing?
I think for me, that obviously being able to sing with a bunch of the young artists is really awesome. Like, not many opportunities does one get to come back home and perform pieces from every part of their career.
Mm-hmm.
There are pieces in the show that represent my past, my present, and my future. And with my past, there's a piece in there from the opera by Mozart called The Marriage of Figaro, or Le Nozze di Figaro. And it's the title character Figaro's final aria. And the irony of this is the first lead role that I ever got in my life was at Government School for the Arts when I was a junior in high school, and it was singing Figaro in Le Nozze di Figaro, or The Marriage of Figaro in English. And now I'm coming back singing the same aria that I sang at Government School for the Arts, but with the Virginia Symphony and the Arts Festival. But this time I'm singing it in the original language. When I first did it, I sang it in English, but now I'm doing it in the original language. And also in this concert, I'm singing both the aria that won me the Met competition, which changed my professional operatic career, at least got me to the Met, La Coluna, from the opera The Bardo of Seville by Rossini. And then I'm also singing the aria that sort of catapulted me into my sort of opera stardom, I guess we'd call it. I sing in the opera La Bohème at the Met. I sing the role of Colline, and he has an aria at the end of the opera called Vecchia Zimara, where he sings to his coat. And I am singing this aria as well in this concert. And then I have a couple arias that I have not sung the roles yet, but I will be singing them in the future. So these are roles that people who are coming to see the show will get a taste of by coming there for my future, of what I'm going to be doing in the future. So it's kind of cool. My past, present, and my future is represented in this concert.
Nice. It seems like this is a program that would also be really enjoyable for a listener, even if they're not that familiar with opera already.
I really think so. I mean, when you talk about the greatest hits, even if you're not an opera fan, you will come to this concert, and even the first overture you're going to hear, I won't even tell you who it's by, but you will hear that overture, and you will hear tunes in it that you've known your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, some of the pieces I'm singing are maybe brand new to a lot of people's ears, but I'm telling you, they are beautiful pieces that you will leave humming a tune from them.
That was bass baritone Ryan Speedo Green, and he'll be performing this Saturday evening at 7:30 at Norfolk's Chrysler Hall with members of Virginia Opera's Emerging Artists Program and the Virginia Symphony, conducted by Adam Turner. Tickets and details are at vafest.org. For WHRO-FM, I'm Wayla Chambo.